name is Courier, and I'm going to present my project on using open textbooks with Gemini Long Context. So why do you want to use textbooks? Well, I think textbooks are amazing because they provide expert knowledge on a wide variety of topics. Here, I'm holding two books. One I read during my PhD thesis on AI, and the second I read recently to try to become a better leader for managing teams. But textbooks also have several limitations. First, you cannot interact with them like asking questions. The only thing you can do is read the pages. Also, it's difficult to mix textbooks together to combine like mathematics and computer science. Finally, you cannot personalize the experience, like meet the user where it is in terms of learning experience and focus on the part where he struggles the most. So for that, I thought it would be interesting to combine the strength of textbooks and Gemini, using textbooks for the grounding and going deep into a topic, and Gemini for the mentoring, interactivity, and personalization. Two steps in the process. The first was to use a library of textbooks and find the one which is the most suited for the learning experience. And the second was to create an assistant from the textbooks found and help the student by answering interesting questions from him. So I had to create a dataset from these online resources called Open Textbook Library. So this dataset contains 1,500 textbooks, and for each textbooks, I had the title, the description, the subject. So that was part of the process. First step was to download the PDF and create this Kaggle dataset. Second was to use the metadata and query the most interesting textbook from this set I could gather. Third step was to extract the text. The fourth step was to create an assistant with context caching to reduce the cost. And finally, compare the output of both an assistant with textbooks, the baseline without any other content, only the prompt to see which one provided the best answer. The first assistant I created is called Sigma, and it provides information from computer science and mathematics. Here, the user query was, I'm a high school student, and I want to learn about mathematics and computer science with Python. The system was able to retrieve these three books. I used Gemini 1.5 Flash because it has the best trade-off in terms of price and performance. And these three textbooks, all in all, had 672,000 input tokens, which is quite a lot. You can see here the benefit of context caching because it cost only 2 cents for each request with the cache on, and with the cache off, it took up to 10 cents per request, so 5 times more. This is an example of the type of query I run for the comparison. Here I'm asking to provide a Python example for finding the square root for expanding the Newton's method. With the assistant, I was able to complete the query in about 30 seconds, while it took only 6 seconds for the baseline, but the assistant was able to go straight to the explanation and the implementation in Python, while the baseline had to repeat a whole set of information I already found in the book. All in all, I found that the assistant was at positive gain on 10 out of 11 cases that I tested. It was able to go on the answer, personalize the output, contextualize the content, avoid repetition, and also mix the two textbooks for improving the learnings. The main issue was that each time the assistant took about 25 seconds to complete, compared to the baseline, which took only 5 seconds. But I was surprised to find that the cost was reduced, first by using Gemini Flash over Gemini Pro, and also by using context caching to reduce the cost. So my conclusion for this project was that it was a valuable experience for me. I was able to, with long context, you could provide much more information and more rich information to the user, and with LLM personalize the content. It was a good demo, I think, of Gemini models for showcasing context caching and long context window. My two main issues were with the file API. I found that the file could increase the time for completing the query by about like 3 or 5 times as much time as compared to the text. And there was issues also of creating the assistant. I'm detailing that in the notebook that I'm sharing. Also, the execution time was too high, and I think for having high-paced interaction with the user, second is a bit too slow, but I'm sure it could be improved in future version. What I'd love to test as well is this new model called LearnLM, which provide learning science principle embedded into the model for improving his teaching. And I think that's be really excited to test this model with a project like this one. That's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will enjoy the review.